Hi guys. Um, I'm just going to do a bit of a foodie. Um, Unfortunately, this is the one that came up when I went into foodie to have a look and see what I'd play, and it's oh my god, so boring. But let's go and let's try and see what we can find if we can get nuggets or little fun facts in here. Oh,
This feels weird because it's like a sit down and talk video, and I haven't made one of these in a little while. But I like
Chantal, you always sit down and talk. Very seldom stand up to talk. So you made one like yesterday.
doing them once in a while to talk about certain subjects. So today's subject is going to be cultural differences. I get asked a lot to talk about cultural differences between here and Canada. If you're new here, I'm Canadian. I'm from Ottawa, Ontario, born and raised in Canada, and I recently married a Syrian man, Salah. He is Syrian. He was born and raised in Kuwait. So I'm currently in Kuwait, and I get asked a lot, basically, if there's any kind of culture shock. So I'm sure you guys want to know my perception of the society, how I compare things with the Western world where I'm from, and what it's.
It's all the same word yet again. Stop calling it the Western world. It's all the same word. It's a little bit, I find it rude. Just say changes between here and Canada, because there's not an awful lot of changes between there and here where I am. So, you know, would you say there's changes between Ireland and Canada and it was a bit of a culture shock? Actually, there might be a bit of a culture shock, but not really all that much.
What it's just been like for me on this journey so far. Honestly, there's not as much culture shock as I imagined because I did do some research before I came here out of respect. I always want to be respectful of different cultures and their customs. So
She
if I ever
Googled.
travel anywhere, it's going to be important for me to respect these differences. To me, differences, especially cultural, are not bad. It's just that they're differences and that's what they are. So I try to embrace everything and try to understand everything that I can. We don't always have to agree with things when things are different and we're not used to them or things we don't understand, but it's still important to respect them. So, I'm going to talk about some things, some misconceptions I believed before coming here, some things that I found very different, and then some things that some information I got from the Kuwait visa website, which makes sense. It's where you can go and get an e visa from a select list of countries if your country's on there.
Now, why did she go on the visa website? That was because, well, it's odd that it was the same. This was uploaded the same day as a different channel had said that they were going to talk to their friends about what she was doing over there and etc. So I don't know. Maybe she did. I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she did check all the visa stuff and all that before she went over. I don't think so. I think it was probably a bit too much hard work for her. She also thinks that this was a third world kind of country. And we all know from Cuba the way she used to talk about the third world countries and um, how poor it was, how poor the people were. And, she was really rude to the point, not rude to the people, but rude on camera to the system within Cuba. That's how I'd probably put it. So she thought she was going to go to the same sort of a place now, but she didn't. It's the third richest country in the world, and it's one of the biggest up and coming countries in so far as how it's being um, the buildings and how it's being remodeled, redone. rehashed even from the way they were a few years ago. Um, but anyway, let's go on. Oops, sorry. Have to tip your mouth there,
apply
foods.
online to get a tourist visa here. Kuwait is a lot more open to tourism than it was in the past, and compared to a lot of other Middle Eastern countries as well. But the information was on the website probably to prepare travelers from different parts of the world as to what you can expect when it comes to different cultural customs here.
No shiz, Sherlock. That's exactly why it's there. To prepare people who are going to countries that haven't been there before. It's just kind of self explanatory. But let's carry on.
Here. So I'll just share some of this information with you if you are thinking of coming here, because this place is beautiful, as you've seen from our vlogs. The beaches,
It is
everything,
beautiful.
just
It's
the
absolutely
food,
fantastic.
the people are so friendly. It's amazing here. So yes, let's get into it. That's kind of gonna be all over the place in my style of doing a video, but anyway, one of the biggest things I was surprised about, I thought for some reason, probably like a lot of people, I was ignorant a lot when it came to thinking of the Middle East. I thought of like everyone in the Middle East just being like much poorer um, than Canada or the US. And it's just like a really small way of thinking, but that's how I thought. And I thought, oh, like I'm Canadian, my money's gonna go a long way there. And it's actually like Kuwait is like the fifth richest country in the world, um, from what I read. But their currency is worth a lot more than Canadian money. So, like, for example, um, 1 KD equals like 4.4 Canadian dollars. So, if you do the math, so yeah, when it comes to money, I just try not to really deal with it as much as I can because it really confuses me.
Now,
And my money.
I will stop her there with the money. I know families that would have left England and the father would have went over there to work, or the mother would have went over there to work from England, and they were originally from Ireland, and so instead of going back to England they came home to Ireland. They bought out their houses. Now this is only after living there for a few years and working. They bought out their houses, they bought out their cars. There was no mortgages or anything, it was just paid straight over. And that's how much money they were paid there. And that's how much the money was worth compared to the pound, because we were in the pound at the time. Now we're in the euro. But the money was so much um worth so much more. Also the jewellery. Um I know people who went to Lebanon when for peacekeeping missions, the Irish soldiers and everything, and they'd send their wives home jewellery. The the jewellery looks different, and it looks like a different gold. It's like everyone was saying, Foodie's ring looks like it's came out of a plastic toy egg thing, um, or a lucky bag. But no, their gold is different, and it's worth so much more money. Um, I don't know where Foodie got her ring. Don't know where Salah got his ring, but I do know the gold there is in the Middle East is very expensive.
My money's not worth much here, so it's better to like save as much as I can just for when I'm in Canada because it's just worth more there. Another thing I won't do here is drive. Um, I've already talked about that in my live streams ad nauseum, so I'm not going to talk about that. But I do not want to drive here. We'll just leave that up to Salah. So, all right. Another thing I found different is the reversal of weather, uh, climate changes.
Oh,
Obviously, it's so hot here. Right now, it's winter months here. So it's actually in like the 20s, but the sun is really hot during the day sometimes. And at night, it's really nice out. It's like in the 20s. It's perfect weather.
Oh, when the
Not
sun's
too
gone
humid
in.
most times. But in the summer, it's unbearable, up to like 60. I think I heard like 63 degrees Celsius. You could fry an egg on the ground. Uh, Most people, the weather is not comfortable in the summer here, to where people tend to live inside the malls, inside their homes with air conditioning. There's AC everywhere, cars, jobs. It's just you wouldn't be able to. It would be like living in Canada in the winter months without a heater.
Oh,
That's it's very very opposite that
so
way. In
in the winter
Canada, a
months
lot of the
they
time it'll
live
go down to like
outside.
minus 30, 35 sometimes. You can't be outside for very long in that. You need to be in the heat. Here it's the reverse. It's so hot you need to be in the AC. And because of that, certain things are different.
Now,
Like camping in the winter here, we don't camp in the winter.
hold up a second now, Foods. When you were in the villa, I'm just nitpicking here now, but when you were in the villa during the summer, doing the videos, was there not a fan blowing at top speed, top wind? It was nearly blowing everything else out the windows and out the patio doors of your bedroom because it was up so far and up so high. So really, in the summer in Canada, you don't have an AC, but you have a fan. And the winter is so cold, but in your house you still have your fan on in the winter. That could be said to be an AC. I don't know. I could be wrong.
In Canada, we camp in the summer. Um, Things like corn, certain things that are in harvest, like corn is really big in the winter here. More at the end of summer in Canada.
I love corn.
Mating
Corn on the
season
cob.
for
Mmm.
animals, for cats. Um, Winter, and in Canada it's in the spring
Sorry,
for
cats
summer.
mate all
So
year
just like
long.
little differences like that, I
Same with
find very
dogs.
interesting. Will say, and again, this information, I say this with utmost respect to Kuwaiti, Arab culture in general. It's very different. It's very different with values. It's a very, this, at least Kuwait, very conservative values, very conservative country. It's an Islamic country. 75% of people are Muslim. However, there are different religions here, and that remaining 25% of people are allowed to practice freely. You have seen in the grocery stores the Santa Claus, the Bath and Body Works Christmas things.
Hold up there now. This is the one. You did not bring us into Bath and Body Works. Personally, I was a little bit offended. I've run out of my Bath and Body Works candles. It takes a lot to get them shipped over from America to Ireland. So usually it was used to be one man would do a big haul for Ireland and he would post out all our candles and our creams and our sprays and whatever. I've lost him on Facebook, which is kind of annoying because I love the Bath and Body Works candles and definitely the body lotions. So that kind of did. But I wanted to see inside it. I've never been in a Bath and Body Works. Get the products, but I've never been inside one. I'd like to have gone inside one. Also, I would have liked to have gone inside the Ultra. The Ultra. Yeah. Even the Nicks. Yeah. Would have liked to go on in there too. I love foodie. I love makeup. I love skincare. I'm a girl. I like girly things. If you go to that mall, will you please bring us into Bath and Body Works? Just so as I can look longingly at the things that I can't buy because I come from Ireland and I can't get at them very often. Just make me a little bit jelly. I'd like to be a little bit jelly over not being able to get my Bath and Body Works things that I love so much for my skin and for my candles, for my beauty room. Oh, it's so sad. No, it's not really. It's so sad. It is sad. Admit it. It's sad. I've run out of apple. Oh damn, apple strudel used to be my favorite. Um, apple strudel was lovely, and there was another apple pie one, and I didn't even have to light them. I'd just take the little tin top off the top of them, and leave them in my beauty room, and it would smell of apples and pastry and nice things. And then people started lighting them on me. But it's okay. I'll find some someday. You see, the Yankee candles are the only ones you can get here, and they just don't do the same thing. They just don't do the job. They just don't smell the same. Anyway, I digress.
So they do have different. They have respect for people who want to practice different religions, though mostly they practice in their homes or things like that. It's predominantly Muslim. So because it's an Islamic country, they practice Ramadan here. They take it very seriously. And during the month of Ramadan, even as a foreigner, anyone who lives here, um, and again, if you're traveling here, please keep in mind if you're here during the month of Ramadan, um, a very religious month for Muslims, and there are laws that will put you in jail if you don't respect them. Even as a foreigner, you have to be respectful of that. I fully understand that. I don't have a problem with that. Someday I would like to try Ramadan. You have to fast until sundown. So if you're seen in public chewing gum, drinking, eating, unless you have like a medical exemption or something like that, mostly if you do, you still don't go in public. I think it's custom to just stay in the home, but you can be fined or arrested for not respecting those laws. Just like anywhere, if you don't respect the laws, you're gonna be in trouble, right? Some other things that are illegal in Islamic culture, things that are considered haram, such anti-Muslim. So things like pork products, alcohol, marijuana, drugs, anything like that. It's also haram for Muslims to have dogs as pets in their home. So,
Now, I was talking to a Muslim years ago, and I was doing a card reading for him, and his father came through, and he said, I didn't know any of this at that time. I hadn't a clue of any of this. And I said, your father's telling me to tell you that he's surrounded by dogs and that they're okay. And the guy said, no, no, no. We don't like dogs. We believe dogs are filth. Dogs are dirt. And he went not on a rant, but he explained to me that dogs are seen as low life, low on the scale of little animals. They're not seen as good or cleansed or anything like that. The cats are high up on the list, but the dogs are looked upon as filth and dirt, and that's probably why in the zoo that they went to, that the dogs, where everywhere else in the world, I'm assuming dogs would not be part of the zoo, but there was little Pomeranians in the zoo in where they went to that day because they would normally see dogs. Um, and I said, no, he's telling me that dogs are fine, that there's nothing wrong with them. But he wasn't listening to me. So, but yeah, the dad, that when he came to me through spirit, he was surrounded by dogs. And he was trying to tell the son that it's part of your culture and part of your religion. But he found when he went over to the other side that dogs are actually okay. So dogs are seen as um just low life in um Islamic countries. And as I said, the guy was here in Ireland that had the reading done. And yeah, so that is true. Still haven't put foodie in the mouth to start her off.
I know that you guys, a lot of you in the Western world, really love pets. I have cats. I love my cats. Having cats in home is fine. It's not. I haven't. It's not usual. Just pets in general. In a lot of parts of the world, it's like that. But the Western world, we love our pets. But here, dogs, if they're useful, like hound dogs for hunting, police work, gathering sheep, things like that. Um, that's permitted, but to have a dog in the home is haram. So
I don't
that's
believe it's
why
haram,
people
but I
say
could
that
be
pets.
wrong.
On the other hand, that's very different from where I come from. But you don't realize it until you realize Canada is very secular, which means that there's no government mixing with religion to govern the country. I will say it's a lot more peaceful here in a lot of ways. I think that my personal belief is because of these laws in place, the big conservative placement of value, um, respect. I think a lot of the reasons that alcohol and drugs and things like that were haram is because it's damaging to the mind and body and to the spirit. And if you're religious, you value God and you value yourself, you don't want to hurt yourself with substances. And that has been really meaningful in my journey to recovery as an addict, um, which I do still struggle with, just um, mostly with food here and there, but
Chantal, it's 4 weeks. Anybody that struggles with alcohol or any substances knows it's a lifelong struggle and very hard. Like you've had it easy because of the fact that you went to a country with laws and values that don't look at these um, extracurricular um, substances as easy to get or easy to use. So at least you were there trying to get your first few weeks over you until you get um, better. Actually, that's what I thought at the start. I didn't say anything until I looked into a little more videos. I actually thought Salah was Foodie's um, mentor to put her on the right path of spirituality and for her to lose weight and get her health back. And I actually thought so he could be her mentor, that they had to get married because they would be spending so much time together as counselor, mentor, if that makes sense, because that made sense to me at the time. Um, if you want to get yourself clean and sort out your life, the best thing is get a mentor. And I don't know what they're called in the States or in Canada. A sponsor. That's what they're called, a sponsor. So to get a sponsor in a country that would um, have to, you have to do the work yourself because there's no substances or of any sort that you can get. Also, when he was telling her to lose weight, that he was trying to get her from the addiction of eating as well. Um, it was just something for me to speculate for a while. Did I come up with any conclusion? Not really. Um, but it was an idea that actually stuck with me, and who knows, maybe there is a bit of truth to it. Um, the sliders as well. I won't go into talking about last night's video until I do last night's video. But when they were eating, Salah seemed to eat his food, and Foodie was leaving hers behind, which was a little bit odd because, well, we know foodie. Also, but you know what really annoyed me with that last night? And it wasn't an annoyance, it was more like a observation. But they were trying to dip the sliders, which were about 2.5 times wider than the little pots of sauce, right? That they had to, cheesy sauce that they had to dip them into, right? That was okay. I didn't mind them dipping them in the sauce because they had their own sauce. All right. The two of them had their own little pots of sauce to dip them into. But I was like, lads, there's a fork there. You both have forks to eat the twirly chips with, whatever crisps and the cheese on top. You know, take some of the sauce out with the fork and put it on your burger. But no. Also, I did notice neither of them used the knives. And I was like, take the knife, take it up, open your slider, or leave it whatever way you want, and put those sauces because they looked like fantastic sauces. One was like a cheesy sauce, and another one was like it was red, so kind of like a salsa. So use your forks, use your knives to put the sauces, and don't be trying to dip this big, huge. Well, they weren't; they were sliders, but they were 2.5 times the size of the little tub. It was like, lads, please, there's a knife and fork there. Take the sauce out of the tub and put it on the burger. Anyway, Foodie left most of her food behind. She drank her lemon, and this was in the TGI Friday. Sure, I've told you all about it now, so I mightn't bother putting it up on a video because I'm sure everybody's seen it. She wasn't impressed with the food, so now she's getting used to all the fancy restaurants over there in Kuwait. And but when we're looking through, we have a TGI Friday here in town, and it is very expensive, very very expensive. I haven't gone in there, so I don't know what it's like. I just haven't gone in there, and so I have nothing to compare it to. But looking at the menu, and it was the first time that she showed us the menu and the different things on it. And yeah, we want to see more of that food. We want to see what the experience is. We want to kind of try and, you know, enjoy it with you, kind of try and experience the taste. Is it tangy? Is it sweet? Is it um barbecue flavored? Not, it's nice. It's fresh. We know they're fresh. We know the tomato was fresh. We knew that the lettuce was fresh. You're hardly going to get gone off lettuce and tomato like anyway. But yeah, just, look up your vocabulary. There's loads of words to use instead of fresh and yum. Anyway, back to foodie. Oh, I poked her there and she didn't play.
When I was back at home and substances are readily available, you can overindulge on everything over there, and it's uh, it's a different vibe. Like again, I've heard people say it's there's so many like big malls and things, so it's like flashy like Vegas, but minus the debauchery, and I have to agree with that. You don't see people falling over drunk here. Throwing up on the street.
I've never been to Vegas, so I don't know what it's like there.
You just don't. You just don't see it here, and it's
Can't
just a very
compare.
peaceful
Sorry, guys.
vibe. You hear the prayer on the street, people just respecting everything, and I don't know.
Yeah, but neither of you have gone in to pray.
I guess unless you live it, you don't really might not really understand it. That's why I like traveling the world and being
Traveling the world,
cultures because it opens
New
your mind
York,
to a lot of
Cuba,
things
Kuwait.
would think about living in the same geographical location for your whole life.
I've been to Portugal. I've been to Spain, two different parts of Spain. I've been to England a couple of times. Does that make me a cultured world traveller? I must put that down on my CV the next time. Cultured world traveller. Have been to Spain twice, Portugal once, England a few times. Yes, I've been there. I've done that. I've seen that. I've London and Birmingham. Yes, I am well travelled. That's my hobby. Actually, I would if I had the money. I love Spain.
And I will say, I do see a lot of comments. People are in disbelief with a past like my own, coming from such an open place. With a past like mine, how can we make it work? And I have to say, Sal has been nothing but just like so open to. He sees the changes in me. He's supportive of it, and he actually helps. Like I've said many times, being with someone who helps you on this healing process, recognizes that you have a good heart and a willingness to change and respect yourself more.
Hence,
And
is he
it's
her
just made
mentor?
such a difference in this journey. I'm not perfect and I'm still struggling sometimes. Change is not linear and it's not overnight. If everyone's patient with me, I think I'm on the right track. I feel it. One thing, speaking of acceptance and friendliness and big hearts, is how welcoming people are. One of the cultural customs is hospitality. People are so nice, and
Now, she says this about people in Kuwait. Now, I know in this country for a fact that we would give the last bit out of our mouth to somebody else if they were in need. Um, Even to the point of when a family member that was very young went in with his pocket money to a shop and bought a sandwich and a bottle of Coke, which we thought was for himself. And he went out and he gave it to a homeless man that was sitting outside the shop. Um, and what age was the boy? I think he was about 6 at the time, but it was a good few years ago. We are a generous country. We are givers in our nature. So it's not just people in Kuwait, Chantal. It's people here. It's people in any country I've been to. They are kind. They smile. They're happy. They're jovial, regardless of what their life is like back at home in their own house or anything else. But people will try and support others at the same time.
even people here who have hardly anything, or just even if they're struggling, or even if, and no matter what walk of life or financial situation they have, if you are welcomed into someone's home, they will treat you like royalty. They will share their best food with you. They will just be so friendly and welcoming. And it's just, I mean, like you've seen on my live stream, neighbors will bring us like olives at midnight, or just anytime they cook, they think of you, they bring you food. And so I've kind of learned, okay, you know what, I like this and I'm going to share too. So whenever somebody brings us something and the dish is empty, now we fill it with something and give it back. So it's a really, they rely on this kind of community of friendliness to help each other. That being said, I did learn that it's custom, if somebody offers you something in their home, try not to turn it down, because usually they're offering you something they're proud of making, or something like, we went to someone's home and they offered, I wasn't hungry and I was kind of full because they made us like some food, and we just had dinner, but they offered me like on top of that like a fresh banana smoothie, and I was like, with some fresh bananas they just got, and I said no. No thank you. And they kind of looked at me like, like didn't really understand, and then they offered me again later, so I did say yes that time, and it was delicious. But also, if you're eating and you don't want to eat anymore, be sure to leave a bit of food on your plate, because they'll just keep filling your plate with food. Like, people really like to feed people here and be nice. And it's like, a heartwarming feeling I can't explain. It's
We're like
such a
that here
peaceful
too.
culture, peaceful religion. The people are so amazing. And yes, it seems conservative probably to people in the Western world, but as long as you're respectful, there should be no problem. Same thing if you want, like if you're having coffee, it's custom like after meals to have some tea or Arabic coffee with some like salty seeds, like sunflower seeds or nuts. But if you don't like, this is more for men who do this. Um, Men, if you're done drinking you have to shake your glass because people will just keep filling it. One thing I see a lot is
Well, we have
talk
tea
about the
and
differences
coffee at the
between
end of
men
our
and women.
meals as
So even
well.
on the website, the visa website, it does say Kuwait, like a lot of Islamic countries, are predominantly patriarchal, meaning they're male dominated. But I find that Kuwait is a lot more open compared to some countries. Like women can drive and things like that now. They're in the workforce with equal pay. There are certain things that women and men do separate. And in my vlog, that's all that I meant. But I did edit out that part because I felt like I wasn't explaining it properly. First of all,
Yeah, I'm
men
going
and
to read
women
that book next.
it's
So
custom that they socialize
that you see there.
separately, especially in public. In the home, it's different. In the home, you can do whatever you want. You can dress however you want. You know, you're married, you're together, it's your private home. But in public, there's certain customs. And in my video, I just meant we were just doing things separately. Actually, the women can smoke shisha if they want to. It's a personal choice. What I'm wearing is a personal choice. Women, I would say there are women, mostly from other cultures. There's a large Indian and Filipino population here. A lot of them don't cover because they're not Arab or they're not Muslim. And the ones who are, though, I usually see them always in hijab, or in a lot of women I've seen in niqab as well. So back to the men and women doing
Sorry.
separate things. There's actually a custom called Diawania. I had to practice that a few times, so that's maybe why there's a jump cut there. Diawania is gathering of men at where they socialize, at cafes, smoke shisha together, have drinks, non-alcoholic, and just socialize together. Again, it's very conservative that way, which is why we also deleted some things that I'm learning. So if I do something that's a little bit out of the norm or a little questionable, it's just out of ignorance or just forgetting or not aware at all. I mean, you can prepare and research all you want, but experience is the biggest teacher, right? So I do edit things out of respect or just to avoid problems in the future. But public displays of affection are very big no-no. Even with the most loving married people, all men and women do not do that in public here with each other. If you do come here, even though you don't have to technically cover your head, out of respect, they do expect you to dress conservatively as a woman. So covering your shoulders, covering at least, down to your ankles.
From
I
what I
usually go
believe,
out
though, most
always
people
in
do have
abaya,
their head covered.
sometimes niqab. I've
They'll
been
wear a scarf over their head.
sometimes wearing that, but always in hijab. The niqab actually, it's comes to here, and the air actually flows under it. It's not covered like a mask, so it's not too bad, and it just goes under this with an elastic, so it's actually not that uncomfortable. It's not really uncomfortable actually, and I'm kind of used to this. Sometimes it is hot, overweight, and I'm fully covered. So until, it took some getting used to, but I'm getting a lot more used to it. And being here in the winter is so much better. From what I'm told, I don't think I could stand the summer here, but yeah. All right, so that's about it for this video. I think I've said everything I want to say. I will be doing a lot more videos and a lot more videos talking about my experiences. I do have a weight loss video coming up. That will just mostly be me updating you on my on that topic in my life because it is a big thing in my life. And yeah, I'll just be coming out with that video at some point. So stay tuned. Also, we are going to be doing more videos on the couples channel. So I will also be doing some live streams while Sal is at work. So stay tuned for those as well. I really appreciate you guys who are still here. I know that every change I go through in my life, good or bad, I lose people along the way, and that's a lesson for me. It really teaches me who my real friends and supporters are, and I don't say that to try to shame people, but it's just a fact that people come and go in life, and people will, your real friends will be there through no matter what. So yes, anyways, lots of lessons, but I'll save those for another video. Alright guys, I've blabbed enough here, and again, very beautiful country in closing, and I'm very glad that I'm here and experiencing it with Sala. So, and you guys along on the journey. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye, masalama.
So there we go. Another beauty of foodie over and done with. What have I to say about it? Not much really. Oh,
What eyes up?
um, okay, we might have to play that. No. Yeah, so I've nothing really much to say other than what I've my input there through the whole lot of it. I shall be back to get again tomorrow. I skipped yesterday because I'm not going to give an excuse or anything else because I actually don't know why I skipped yesterday. No, I don't. I had a busy day with family in and out the door, all right, but like I usually still get to do 10, 15 minutes of something. Look at all those cracks. So yeah, I'll do one tomorrow. That's after covering that one, and of course I covered the TGI Friday one while I was watching this one, and I'll find something for us to watch tomorrow that I can talk about and talk through and drive everyone mad. And love you all. Bye.